Well, hello, everyone. We're actually here for the inaugural session of the Silver Fox Show with Alan Hinton. Alan, we haven't done this in a while. We've renamed the show. Maybe you want to elaborate a little bit why we call it the Silver Fox Show with Alan Hinton.
Well, when I was a soccer player, John, my hair was blonde. And then it went sort of silver, and now it's grey. So I went from the old fox, the cunning old fox, and now I'm the silver fox, with opinions about the game, good and not so good. But thanks for doing this again. It's a pleasure.
No, we look forward to it. I'm sure your fans have missed you. We talked about a little bit earlier what we're going to cover on the show. We're going to do a little bit of domestic football, which is the Sounders, DC United, a little bit of international football with Jose Mourinho, Manchester United, and Messi, and any other topics you care to bring up. Alan, let's start off with the Sounders, the hometown club that you're affiliated with. When we talked last week, you mentioned the fact that you predicted when they were in dire need of making the playoffs, you said they were going to make it. Why?
Well, I did, because I've got a tremendous amount of faith in the coach, Brian Smetzer. It's remarkable the job he's done. I have actually called him Sir Brian Smetzer, and the reason I called him Sir is because Jimmy Gabriel got to the finals in 1977 of the big one, not the little trophies, the big one, and lost. I got to the final with the Sounders in '82 and lost in the final to the Cosmos. Brian Smetzer got to the final of Major League Soccer, which is the big one, in Toronto. I was there as a guest of the Sounders, thank you very much, and Brian Smetzer won the big one, so I called him Sir. The next year he went to the final again, and Toronto beat the Sounders. But at the beginning of this season, there couldn't have been worse problems for the coach and for the team and for the fans, because the CONCACAF Championship, Jordan Morris, a very promising, good local player from Mercer Island, got injured. He's been out for the year. In addition, we had many injuries, particularly to Ozzy Alonso. There was the issues with Dempsey, who also got injured. There was the World Cup, and there was all the close games going the wrong way. So we had a terrible start. I remember us being down in 12th, and I tweeted, "Don't worry about it. The coach will pull us through. Things will turn, and we will make the playoffs." And of course, we're bank smack in the playoff race now. But it's a great credit to the coach, who stuck on message of being upbeat and positive. And now we're seeing the results of his positivity and the good play of the team, led by Ozzy, the captain, and Ladero, who's one of the finest pros I've seen.
You talked about the West, Alan. One of the surprise teams is DC United. There's the pre-Rooney era and the post-Rooney era. Your view of what's going on with Rooney and DC United, and your thoughts on how he's done so far.
Well, it's another plus for Major League Soccer, because DC, they got out of that big old stadium, and they built their own stadium for 25,000 people. They've signed Rooney, and I know firsthand, because I talked to Rooney 2 times when he was here with Manchester United in Seattle, and he really wanted to be in America, and I'll tell you why. He's a Liverpool boy. He played for Everton. He then went to Manchester United. So the Everton fans, they're dodgy about him, but okay about him. The Liverpool fans absolutely hate him and would probably boo him if he was walking down the street. In DC, he will have none of that. He'll be able to go down the street, in the shops, in the restaurants with his family, and not everybody will recognize him, and he's going to enjoy that. The turning point for him was in the last minute of a game. He made this unbelievable slide tackle. He was the last defender on a breakaway, and he slid, and he came away with the ball, sort of dragged it about 30 yards, hit the ball to the far post, and DC won the game. And I think that was the time to take off. And he's scoring goals, he's making goals, he's clearly having a good time. So DC, I hope they make the playoffs. They could be a force.
Alan, let's switch the topics over to what's going on overseas, specifically Manchester United. They're in 10th place. Jose Mourinho is entering the third year of his being a manager out there. Lots of rumors floating around. What's your assessment of what's going on with Manchester United? And is Mourinho going to make it to the end of the season?
It doesn't look like it, does it? I mean, he has a great record. I remember his first days working for Barcelona. He was a golfer. He used to drive around Bobby Robson, who was then the coach, great man, and he drove around a friend of mine years ago, and then he became the interpreter for Barcelona. Then he became the assistant coach. Then he became Porto's manager and did sensational. He did fantastic at Chelsea. And all of a sudden he seems to have gone crazy in terms of it's all about him, his temper tantrums, the mood swings he has. He and Pogba are clearly having a total breakdown. Now Pogba is not an easy guy to handle, but just Pogba did do fantastic in the World Cup, so there's probably a good side to him, but I just want Mourinho to sort himself. It's a very good time to play Manchester United right now.
Let's switch over into more of a positive topic. We had Champions League play this year, or this past week, and you mentioned specifically before we got on the air, Lionel Messi, Barcelona's best player. Your thoughts on Messi?
Well, I've always thought Ronaldo and Messi were equal in terms of their greatness. But having watched Messi play at Wembley in front of 82,000 the other day for Barcelona at Tottenham, it was a decent team, not great, but a decent team with Harry Kane and several others. Messi put on a show that was pure genius. He scored 2 goals. He set up many. He hit the post twice with his lovely left foot passing style. He teaches everybody you don't have to slam the ball every time you kick it. He passes the ball into the net. But he's such a marvellous player. He's my old coach Brian Clough would have called him a cheeky little bastard, because he gets between your legs. He comes. He walks. He walks and runs. And he's like a flipping dancer. He's like Fred Astaire, quick, slow. And he's just a marvellous player, and he's so modest. Now, playing for Argentina is a different story. He needs to quit Argentina, because Argentina clearly doesn't have the team built around Messi like Barcelona does. It's a joy to watch him play, and I think for certain he's the best player I've ever seen, and I've seen plenty.
Alan, that'll conclude the interview, and we'd like to have our fans reach out to Alan via Twitter with any questions that you have or comments, or any topics you'd like Alan to discuss on the initial version of the Silver Fox Show with Alan Hinton. So we look forward to your comments, questions, any other thoughts you have. Alan, thank you very much for doing this.